Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fans. Welcome to the Better Late Than Never episode of the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by Adam Carlson.
I am here. I'm here.
You are here. Kyle Smith, you are also with us.
That's correct. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great.
I think it's a pretty good day. It's always a good day when you get to sit home and relax and kick your feet up after a Minnesota Vikings win.
You betcha.
Those are always good things. And I'd like to welcome everyone to episode number 230 of the Purple People podcast. This one is titled Hit the Road, Jacks.
I like it.
Minnesota Vikings played the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are abbreviated JAX. I don't know. Maybe it's their airport thing. I don't know, but I don't get it.
I thought this might be like a Mortal Kombat reference. I was like, wow,
that would have been cool.
I actually get this one. This is nice.
Oh, Mortal Kombat, I tell you. Anyway, we are here to discuss the week of football again. This is kind of a shorter week that we were on here on the podcast as well, since we're going from a Thursday game to a Sunday game, so we don't have as much to talk about, but we still got some stuff to hit on. So let's go through the quick hits. First, the Minnesota Vikings finally decided to place defensive tackle Sharrif Floyd on injured reserve. They were hopeful that he'd be able to see some action after having a couple of procedures on his knee to clean up some problems in there, but eventually it turned out to be too much, and Floyd will be done for the season.
Yeah, a little disappointing. I think all Vikings fans are disappointed. This one was a curious thing because at the beginning, I think we all thought that he would be here within a couple weeks of the start of the season, and then we just didn't hear anything, and now he's on IR.
Yeah, it took a lot longer than we expected. I know I was talking to Adam and Kyle last night in our group chat, and there's fans calling for his head, saying he's worthless, they want him cut, and it's weird when you talk about injuries. It's good that he's finally on there, but it makes you wonder why not sooner. That's the biggest question for me.
That J Knows D is here with us, and he says, "Hey, right on time." For those of you listening in the delayed, we were about 40 minutes late because two of us got new computers, and the whole situation here with Facebook and Google Hangouts got changed around a little bit, so we struggled.
My least favorite thing in the world is when these websites decide to just do updates when everything was working fine before, and then they just update stuff and it's different, and then I don't like that.
Change is bad.
It is. I don't like change.
Speaking of change, after getting rid of Sharrif Floyd, they brought back in Toby Johnson, who, if you guys remember, there was that sweet play during the preseason where Justin Trudeau knocked the ball up in the air right before halftime against the Rams during preseason, and Toby Johnson had that awesome laying out interception for a big fella. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was pretty cool. I'm glad to see him back on the roster.
Speaking of Toby Johnson, now that we finally get to include him in some super official news, I'm gonna send him a message on Instagram and say thanks, because I follow him on there. He's a character, but you know what I really like about this guy? He's always talking about and being positive. He's always in the gym, making sure he's staying fit and all that good stuff. But he's always positive that his day is going to come. And whatever, it's because Sharrif Floyd's on IR, but I guess the deal in his Instagram picture says, I'm glad to be a part of something special for the next 3 years. Now, we all know that can change at the drop of a hat, but I'm excited for the guy. He seems like a humble and hungry kind of dude. So congratulations to Toby.
You got to take the opportunities when they come up, even if they're under poor circumstances. For some of these guys who are labeled as practice squad darlings or long shots, fringe players, whatever you want to call them, when they get their chance to play football, they are going to come out and play their hearts out because they know that this could be the last time they suit up.
And Dorian Foley with us in the chat. Welcome, sir.
And I love what I've seen from Toby Johnson in the past. He's athletic for a big guy. He's got some power. I'm interested to see if he can take away a little bit of that playing time, because I know for a while there, especially since they had some defensive ends stealing some of the DT reps, especially in third and long situations, pass rush situations. But I want to see a little bit more of that pass or the run protection dominance there. So maybe he can be helpful in that respect since Sharif Floyd is unable to do his duties this season. Continuing on, Adrian Peterson said in a radio interview today that he hopes to return to the field for Week 16 against Green Bay. He said he's going to be practicing throughout the week, trying to get back up to speed. And who knows, maybe if the Vikings lose in Week 15, we won't even see him. You never know.
It's very true. If we're not in playoff contention, you know how it goes.
That's right.
I just want to throw that out there. Now, we need all the help we can get. You guys know my spiel if you've been listening to the show about my personal feelings. But if there was a game that he would come back in true Adrian Peterson fashion, it would be against Green Bay. Green Bay is playing pretty damn good at home. Aaron Rodgers is undefeated in December. Fun fact, I wish I didn't know. But it's getting colder. It's going to be more ideal when you're playing outside the ground and pound the ball. And you guys know we've talked about it recently. We're 32nd with the rushing attacks, and we need all the help we can get. So hopefully we can find a way to beat Indy this weekend. I like our chances at home, and hopefully we can get Adrian back so we can go to Green Bay and win again like last year.
The good news is that Indy is having some major offensive line issues, just like the Vikings are. So they might be susceptible to that big Minnesota pass rush. So I'm excited about that.
Do you guys think there was a little bit of Vikings PR department that came in here and was like, okay, Adrian, your comments from the other week got everyone all riled up, because now all of a sudden it's like we were talking about before we started recording. You said something about how he wants to play for another 5 years and retire as a Viking. There, Mr. Smith, and you're hearing about how now he wants to come back in the final week against the Packers. A little bit different than what we heard from him last week. So I wonder how much of that was like, I don't know, whoever the PR people and his agents kind of came out and were like, Adrian, don't say stupid shit. Just don't,
I'm sure
don't do that.
Some advisors there to say, we need to work on your image a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Those image analysts, they can do some major things. Being famous is hard. You say the wrong thing, and you can get people to turn on you real fast.
Yeah, and not to get back on that, but I mean, like we said last week, is that you could kind of maybe get one of those things that you think but you don't say, and he said it, and you got to see how that snowballed out of hand really super fast.
Absolutely, it does happen. Coming in next, Stefon Diggs closing in on the 1,000-yard season mark. The last 1,000-yard receiver for the Vikings was Sidney Rice in 2009 when he had the old gray gunslinger Silver Fox Brett Favre throwing to him.
Silver Fox. That's been a long time. Can you guys believe that? It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
It's sad because there have been some talented receivers coming through the Vikings since then.
Michael Jenkins.
Able to get it done. I love Jinxie Cat.
I know.
I knew one of you were going to say that.
Mm.
Even if he doesn't like the nickname, I'm keeping it alive.
A quick shout out to, really quick, we got Johnny Green and Scott Schwab with us in the chat. Hello, guys.
Welcome to the group. I just want to say that it might be a little bit of a challenge for Diggs to reach 1,000 because I believe he has to average somewhere around 64 receiving yards per game, and he has failed to reach that mark in his last 3 games. Now, it should be a little easier next week since the Colts have a dismal pass defense. They are really bad. But then they'll go against an average pass defense in Green Bay, who somehow are middle of the road despite all their losses in the secondary. I don't know how they do it. And then they put forth that performance against the Seahawks. Who knows? And then they go against a tough pass defense in Chicago, which you don't think of them as a tough defense or a tough pass defense, but they're giving up some of the fewest yards through the air in the game. So it'll be interesting to watch. Hopefully he can break that because I believe he'll be the 11th player in Vikings history to reach 1,000 receiving yards if he does.
Yeah, you guys, for the people listening to the show, we have a group chat between Adam and Kyle and myself, and he would be among, we talked about it a couple days ago, he would be among some really elite players Obviously, the big names that come to mind, Chris Carter, Randy Moss, they did it many, many times. But just to have your name in there with the organization, he would only be, like you said, 10th or 11th player, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And just to jump back on what you said, we haven't had this in 9 to 16, that's 7 seasons. That's been a long time. That should tell you how crazy the team has been as far as a pass attack goes, because the running backs all across the NFL have kind of diminished, as you guys have been watching, over the last 10 to 20 years. So it's more about an aerial attack. So the fact that we haven't had one for that long should tell you how special he is.
Yeah, as soon as Adrian Peterson got drafted, the Vikings became that ground attack team, and that's when the whole shift from the Vikings being this aerial team that can air it out went to being a ground and pound, and you saw less of those yards through the air, which having Adrian Peterson explains a lot of why there hasn't been 1,000-yard rusher since then. But it also doesn't mean that there can't be a player to complement a good rusher. Because you can definitely have 1,000-yard rusher and 1,000-yard receiver on the same team in a season. It can definitely happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Atlanta has done it, the last 2 years?
I believe so. Julio is always going to catch them. They've got 2 really good running backs now, and you just got to have a quarterback that can sling it everywhere. I think we have 2 of those on the roster. So just got to figure out. We were talking about this before the show. We got to figure out the offensive coordinator and that kind of situation first. But Diggs is definitely the talent, and with Adrian on the team, you kind of expect him when he's healthy to have 1,000 yards. Kind of a minimum.
I read something about Diggs and Thielen being the first Vikings combo wide receivers to have over 800 yards, I think, since the Chris Carter days.
I like it.
I would believe it. And you want to talk about a pleasant surprise from both players. I mean, when Diggs was drafted, I know we were all excited, but did anyone was taken in the 4th round? Did anyone really expect Diggs to turn into this good of a player that fast for the team? I mean,
I was expecting more of a Jarius Wright type player.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too. Then I remember watching him in training camp in Mankato his rookie season, and long-time listeners, you can go back and listen to it, and I was really super excited about his potential, but, I didn't think that he would, become as good as he did. I'm really glad that he has, same with Adam Thielen. Like, that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. These guys stepping up, like I said, when they get their opportunity, they know to work hard. These 4th-round draft picks, undrafted free agents, these guys are proof that you don't have to be a top draft pick to come out and make a name for yourself.
That's why when it comes to kind of like draft philosophy, which we talk about a lot during the offseason, is that I really don't buy into, well, you have to take a wide receiver in the 1st round, or you have to take a running back in the 1st round. You can kind of take the best player available. You should take the best player available because, reaching for a wide receiver in the 1st round doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get talent. You can find talent all across the board if you're smart and you just pick the best players that are available. You'll end up with a solid roster.
Yeah, look at Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. I mean, that's a 3rd round and a 6th round pick, and they're won Super Bowls, and they've been amazing. I like that philosophy too. We said it all season. I think when you brought this up just now, I think a lot of us like me go to Laquan Treadwell, but it kind of fell in our lap because he was projected by some as like the best wide receiver in the draft, and there was a primary need for us. But I agree with you there. I don't think you should jump to get someone. A classic example, Cordero Patterson. Some people would say that he hasn't lived up fully. I think the season's going to kind of turn that around for a lot of opinions, but it's a big gamble to jump up when you need something versus, well, I could take a guy that I know is going to be a stud, but he's not necessarily a top priority.
Mm-hmm. And Scott, I don't miss North. We're going to talk about him in the chat. I don't miss North because he quit on the team. And I don't have no time for anyone who's going to quit on us.
We'll talk a little bit more about the offensive schemes here in a little bit later, because I've got some comments on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Greenwood was named the Vikings Community Man of the Year. We gave this quick hit last week, I believe. But it's so awesome
I couldn't
we'll
remember.
Do it twice, because now he's eligible for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And that's a good award. I like it.
Congratulations.
And the Vikings, I don't remember if we did this one last week or not, too, but we'll toss them again if we did. The Vikings are in a team with K-Fan for the Toys for Tots drive. That is an annual thingy that they do where they give toys to kids.
Do they call it a thingy or?
Yes, a thingy. That is a professional term.
The professional term thingy. I love it. Do you guys remember Skull Obadiah?
I sure do.
Young Obadiah Gamble attended a Minnesota Wild hockey game, and he got to announce the puck drop, and he was absolutely psyched. But then, after that, they talked to him on the radio about, announcing the puck drop, and they asked him, what did you like better, this puck announcing or meeting Teddy Bridgewater? And it was Teddy all over the place.
Oh, that's cute.
It's amazing.
You gotta love it. Absolutely awesome.
You know what my favorite part about that is? Obviously, it's the heartwarming stuff. The team taking time out. I put a picture on my personal Instagram page whenever the Vikings brought him out to practice. Got Mike Zimmer shaking his hand and interacting with him. But something that I really like, and I like this all throughout sports, how the local teams kind of support each other. And I know most of them do, but it seems like the Wild and the Vikings are always doing stuff for each other, always including each other stuff. I love that. I absolutely love it.
Have you seen the series on Vikings.com where Kyle Rudolph goes around and he's trying all the other sports?
Yeah, I saw the one with the Timberwolves, and he actually made a shot from the stand somewhere.
Those are a lot of fun. They're cool to check out. This quick hit, not in the list, but I want to announce it because I think it is awesome. Everybody hates Pro Bowl weekend. They hate it.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to bring this up.
But finally, the announcement was made that there will be a quarterback skills competition at the Pro Bowl.
That's awesome.
Now, I don't know if this is going to open up the door for some of the other skills competitions from the past. I hope they do. I hope they have some good kicking stuff, and I love the skill challenge. Maybe the obstacle course for the running backs or whatever. It could be a lot of fun, and these guys are competitive, so it's going to be great. And if you put money for charity on the line, it's going to be even more fun. I can't wait to watch this. This is finally giving me something great because, let's be honest, Sam Bradford is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. There's a chance he could walk in there. He could win it.
Yeah. I like that, man. I was really excited when you sent the message to us today. I was like, oh, God. I thought it had to do something with a transaction or someone coming back or anything like that. And then it was Pro Bowl news. That was the best shocking surprise you could get.
I was not expecting that on Twitter today, so that was a very pleasant surprise.
I'm going to claim that that's because of us. We've been talking about this for years, Adam. We're going to take credit for this one.
We've been pushing it for so long. Now, let's get into the game talk about the Vikings and the Jaguars. Vikings went down to Florida. They came home with a win, 25-16, in a game where the Vikings didn't take full advantage of all of their opportunities. This could have been a much bigger margin of victory if they would have been able to. Then again, if the ball would have bounced a couple different ways on a couple of other times, this could have been disastrous.
I thought you were going to change the name of this show to Holy Field Goals, Batman.
There's no pun there. Come on.
It was crazy. I missed the first part of it trying to find the links. The first time I've complained about my Fire Stick that I've had. But I opened it up. We were already up a field goal, and I was like, cool, we've already driven down the field. We're going to score a lot of points today.
You mean your link on NFL Sunday Ticket?
Yes, that is it. That is exactly what I got it
Your
from.
legally purchased link to the game, right?
But yeah, I was very, very surprised at how dry it was. And then I think through the game, the announcers were talking about how it was about to tie the record. I think there's between both teams, the record is 9 field goals in a game. We got to 7 at one point. So I thought for sure that it was going to be an all field goals game up until the fourth quarter came around.
Let's take a look at some of the team stats here. The Vikings outgained the Jaguars 377-315. They won the battle of time possession. Minnesota won that 30 minutes and 56 seconds to 29 minutes and 4 seconds. Vikings picked up more first downs, while the Jaguars ran more total plays, which was interesting. The Vikings almost reached 300 passing yards, 292 during the contest. They both had 85 rushing yards. Vikings were 2 for 5 in the red zone, which that's not very good. While Jacksonville was 1 of 2. One of the huge differences in this game was penalties. The Jacksonville Jaguars they were flagged 14 times for 114 yards during the game.
It's a lot of yardage.
The Vikings 7 times for 93 yards. So if you like
It's also a
penalties
lot of
and field
yardage.
goals, this game would have been absolutely perfect.
Well, this is your Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. You'd have been just going hog wild at this one.
Mhm.
Let's move into the game stats where Sam Bradford, 24 of 35, 292 through the air, 1 touchdown, quarterback rating of 106.5. He was accurate. He took some deep shots, which that's exactly what I wanted to talk about when we were talking about the offensive coordinator. They came into Jacksonville with a new protection scheme to give Bradford a little bit extra time, and they came out and they used it right away. And I thought that was absolutely awesome. When I did my 5 Keys to Victory over on the Viking Age, I thought that they were going to do shorter passes, short runs, bring in the defense, and then take the deep shots. But they came out right away and established that and hoping to back off the defense. And to me, it started out real well, and it worked out in a great way.
Mhm. I felt that Sam did a good job this game, like you said, with connecting with the deep pass. And it's not that he's, incapable of doing so. He's always been capable of hitting throws like that. It's just that there was some there for the taking, and maybe they had more opportunities built into the game plan. I like seeing that because we do have talent. Like Adam Thielen is a talented guy, so is Diggs. These are other guys that can go down the field and they can make plays for you. And so they need to be involved in that. Like you can't constantly throw a 1-yard pass to Cordero Patterson on 3rd and 10 and expect that to convert for you every single time. Like that doesn't work. Like you can't rely on that.
I'm trying to find the right place to put my opinion out, and I think this is a good time because you're talking about how the offense was opened up, right? There were, I think, 4 plays that game they said over 40 yards apiece. So what I wanted to emphasize with this point is I know Jacksonville's record is terrible, but they're not a terrible team all around. They have their times when they shoot themselves in the foot, penalties, Blake Bortles turnovers, all that good stuff. But defensively, this is a good team, and they have a ton of first-round picks that I would love to have on our team. They're fantastic, and you got to look at their defensive coordinator. He came from Seattle. They run a Seattle-based defense, very, very similar. They're a tough and aggressive defense. So the fact that we were just chucking the ball around, I know it's Jacksonville, and I know they're not good on paper or record-wise, but I don't want to discredit their team. I don't care if it pisses fans off. I don't think they're going to listen to this, but I don't want to discredit their team. But I say, oh well, you should have beat Jacksonville. They've been in every single game that they've won or lost this year. So I just want to throw that out there because I like what you said. I didn't know that the protection scheme had changed, but I know afterward Sam Bradford had talked about they did that. They were excellent, and you could see it all day. I know he got hit a few times, but he wasn't getting knocked around. He wasn't hurried as he usually was, and it was very evident.
Absolutely. I agree totally with that. Moving on to the run game, and that is where I get to give away my donkey. My donkey award goes to Zach Line. When you're a fullback, your job is to plow through people and push them backwards, not get hit and flown 6 yards backwards. Now, I love a fullback. I do. I'm old school. I love paving the way for the big fellas. But guess what? Zach Line just could not get it done during this game. There have been many games where he's been very effective. This game was definitely not one of them. With all the failed attempts when trying to pick up short yardage with Line in there, it just turned out to be a mess. To be honest, I want the Linval goal line package back out there.
I like it.
It was pretty awesome. I've grown to like Zach Line as a player for this team. Like, he does a lot of good. You're right. This was an off game for him, Adam.
Yeah.
I also have a donkey to give out in the running back category, and I just gave mine collectively to Minnesota Vikings running backs, mostly aimed at Matt Asiata and Jerick McKinnon. They were really largely ineffective. This one, you've seen Asiata fumble on the goal line, almost should have touchdown. Of course, he woke up afterwards after that play, and he had a better remainder of the game other than that. But these guys are just struggling, it seems like, every single play to get any kind of forward momentum, and it's very frustrating because I have much higher expectations for both of them. I don't know what exactly is going on, whether or not it's like line play up front or what the issues are, but they've been struggling, and they are continuing to struggle running the ball.
Johnny Green makes a good point about the offensive line, is that every quarterback has a mental time clock in their head. Sam Bradford's is about 3 seconds, while Dak Prescott gets about 9.
Touche.
Pretty fair.
We were talking about that before, too, and it's like, well, if you want to have the offensive line that Dallas has, you got to be willing to commit to it, and that took a couple years of first-round draft picks on the offensive line, and every time we brought that up, Adam, in the offseason, everyone always wanted to bitch to us when we said that, we should bring a lineman and we should draft a lineman early, and so if you want to have those 9 seconds, you have to draft a lineman and be okay with it.
Linemen are a dime a dozen. You can pick up a decent one in free agency. Guess what?
Well, you end up with T.J. Clemmings.
Oh, man. What a mess. Absolute mess. Matt Asiata had 11 carries for 37 yards. Most of them came on one nice 23-yard scamper.
Mm-hmm.
Jerick McKinnon, 14 carries for 31 yards. And his longest was 7. I don't know what's going on with Jerick McKinnon. There were times during previous seasons where he looked like he could be the guy for the future, Just a dynamic runner that can make great cuts, has good speed, nice acceleration. And lately, I don't know if it's the offensive line. I don't know if it's the schemes. I don't know what it is. But there has to be something. And I don't understand why the pass protection can get figured out when the run blocking is just so subpar.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that McKinnon has, he's still under contract, but I mean, he'll have next season to figure this out for the team. Asiata, I'm not so sure if Mike Zimmer is going to have continued faith in that.
I still think Asiata was a last-minute signing because I think the team wanted to move forward without him.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were willing to move on without him, I guess is what I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But when push comes to shove, you got to go with what you know,
I think the most part about the running backs is when Jerick came in his first year, well, I think it was 2 years ago, he would have little spurts where he would look, decent because Adrian was taken up all the time. We all know that. And then he had a really, really good game last year at some point. And Mike Zimmer said, they were asking him, well, what's the difference there? It's like, I told him he needs to have the confidence. He's a good player. He just has to believe in it. And I thought that with AP going down because he knew it was going to, they know it's going to be an extended injury and a long time without him, he would mentally be prepared to take advantage. This is your time to shine. Because once AP comes back, it's his show from there. But I can't really figure out what it is. Like you guys said, though, I don't really know. I can't put my finger on why the productivity's been so bad.
Pressure is hard to deal with. I think that has a lot to do with it, honestly. And I don't know what makes
5 yards on the ground is a pretty good day.
Yeah. I really think, though, it comes down to pressure. I mean, and I don't know why last season it worked and this season it didn't, but maybe he feels more of a workload on him knowing, that he could be the future back for the team. And some guys respond to that very well. Other guys have a harder time dealing with it. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know for McKinnon. I hope he can figure it out, though.
Moving on to receivers, we had a 100-yard receiver in Adam Thielen, 4 catches for 101 yards on 5 targets. Good stuff.
Big fan. Big fan.
Up next, Kyle Rudolph caught half the passes thrown his way again. I don't know why he keeps going with that ratio. It's crazy.
No.
But 60 yards, and he had the touchdown in the game. Stephon Diggs targeted only 5 times this game, caught 3 of them for 55 yards. And then past that, we got McKinnon with 6 catches for 37, Cordero 3 for 18, Asiata 2 for 14, Red Elson caught 1 for nothing, and Charles Johnson with 1 snag, 6 yards.
Isn't it crazy? The top 2 actual receivers. I know Rudy's a tight end, so I won't throw him in the receiver category just yet. Isn't it crazy? We were talking about this earlier. The 2 receivers on the team, one's undrafted and one's a 5th round pick. It's insane.
It is pretty weird to look at it that way. It definitely is.
How about that Diggs catch, man? That's something you could print out, Kyle, whenever you get back into your photography, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was a hell of a dive. It reminded me of the Detroit game last year.
He can definitely make catches, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's one heck of a player. It's really fun to watch him work. And I mean, we know he's a little banged up, and so I think that's kind of why you've seen his production dip a little bit. But when he's healthy, boy, he's one of my favorite receivers we've had in a long time.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And Adam Thielen, you talk about a guy, we were talking about like contracts and stuff. When his contract's up, here's a guy that you have to re-sign, and you're going to have to sign him to like a decent deal. Because I think, any team in the league would want him at this point. I mean, am I overestimating here, guys? Or, I don't know, what do you think?
No, for his contributions on special teams, and now he's shown he can be a capable receiver, he will get some money thrown his way. It's going to happen.
He should. He's definitely earned it.
I like your wording on that. It was very Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy. No, you're right. He's definitely gonna. It's not gonna be mega money, but just for his value, and like I said, undrafted free agent. He's the number 2 on the team. I mean, I hate to say that because Patterson's having a decent year. He's shown more ability as a receiver, but Adam Thielen, there's really nothing that he can't do, minus the one little mess up last week in Dallas. But that's not his primary job, so.
Yeah, you never know there. You never know. Moving on, there were 2 fumbles during this game. One was Matt Asiata right on the goal line, and that one hurt. That one hurt a lot. There are times when you should extend the ball for the goal line, and there are times where you shouldn't. And there were just too many bodies between him and the goal line to take that chance there. The other one was a strip sack on Sam Bradford, where Bradford picked up the ball and threw it to McKinnon for a first down.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Improvise. I like that.
Absolutely. Let's move into the defense. We had Eric Kendricks leading the team in tackles with 8 total, with 1 tackle for a loss. He earned my player of the game. He gets my game ball for just being all over the place and being an all right guy.
I like it.
Up next is safety Anthony Harris, who took the place of Harrison Smith during the game, who was unable to play. Harris was another guy that was just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
He was relying on his athleticism to make plays. There was one big tackle that he missed. But, he's a young player. He's getting used to the league. He's subbing in as a backup. He'll miss a couple plays. It's going to happen. But at least it didn't end up hurting the team too bad.
Yeah, I watched Zimmer's press conference today, and he was talking about it was an up-and-down game for him. I think that Zimmer acknowledged that the touchdown was his fault, but there was a 3rd stop where he made a huge tackle. So he's got the ability. Harrison's a hard guy to replace regardless, but I like this guy's attitude. I follow him as well on social media. You get hyped, you start following these players personally, you get to see what they're all about. Says, hey, when my time's called, I'm gonna be ready. So it was cool to see him. He was all over the field yesterday. I saw a lot more of him, as a safety than you want to see as far as tackles go, because that means they're making some big plays. But yeah, it was nice to see him making a stand in the game, making his presence felt. I was happy for him.
All right, let's limit our praise for Daniil Hunter because we do it every show. We end up going off on how much potential he has, how young he is, and all that. But we all know he's awesome. 6 tackles, 1 sack. It was nice. Got a nice hit on the quarterback. Lovely day for Daniil Hunter.
And I gave him my game ball. You know why? You spelled it out perfect, Adam. And I'm looking at his stats for the season. 10.5 sacks from a guy that, if I was to see Daniil Hunter walking at the shopping mall in street clothes, I wouldn't be able to pick out who he is. But he's a future superstar for this team for sure. Only 22 years old, just potential through the roof. Love Daniil Hunter. He gets my game ball. Another solid performance.
Absolutely. Speaking of sacks, Brian Robinson added 1, and Everson Griffin got 2 during the game.
Everson Griffin got my game ball. He only had, I'm looking at it here, he only had 3 tackles, but he had 2 sacks. He's adding to the list. Like I said, Daniil Hunter's taken the majority of the sacks. That's why he's leading the team. But Everson made his presence felt again. The second sack was one of my favorite to watch just because he came in at super – you guys know how big Everson is. And he's got wicked speed for how big he is. So it was a good game for him. He got my game ball.
Everson Griffin also deflected a big pass that could have gone for some nice yardage by getting his paws up there and just smacking it down. He had 3 hits on the quarterback as well. So even though he didn't always get to the quarterback, he did the 2 times for the sacks. But he was still getting pressure, getting close, and getting a hand on him sometimes. So good news there.
We got some people talking in the chat. Interesting thing, the Pro Bowl got brought back up. The rumors going around that they're going to be playing dodgeball.
Dodgeball?
Dodgeball. How amazing is that?
I have not heard that, but I'd watch it.
Oh my god, I hope they play dodgeball. I'd buy tickets to see that in person.
I like it.
I'd watch it. I would watch it.
Could you imagine?
People are finally starting to understand at the NFL that the Pro Bowl should be about fun.
Yes. Could you imagine Everson Griffin with a dodgeball, winging that baby as hard as he can at like Jeff Locke? Oh, that's funnier than heck.
I like I picked Jeff Locke of all the people.
Sure.
They did away with the drafting, right? It's back to conferences now? Or
yeah, it's back to conferences. They got rid of all that crap.
Okay, good. Because I got to say, I didn't really care for that too much.
That was confusing, and I don't know. They tried to make it like fantasy football, and that was just.
I want all my Vikings players on one team.
Yes.
That way, I know who to root for. Going back to the game recap, let's see. Let's talk about Zach Line. Even though I made him my donkey, he had that one nice tackle on the special teams play where if he didn't just grab the guy's ankle and bring him to the ground, it would have been a massive gain. So I do have to give Zach Line credit on that.
Yeah, like I said, he's a good player. I don't know. He's growing on me. He had an off game for sure, but he does lots of good contributions overall for this team.
Kick returns. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the worst in the league when it comes to kick coverage, and we saw a lot of that during this game. Cordero Patterson had one opportunity to take it out, and when he did, he got 53 yards. David Morgan had a ball skip to him, and he still got 18 yards off the return, and he held on to that thing like it was a newborn baby. That wasn't going anywhere.
I liked it. I was like, oh, my God, who is that? Who is that? And I remembered the number. I was like, they know not to kick it to Cordero. I think that was after the big game. They weren't going to chance that again. That was really funny.
Well, they got that delay of game on the kickoff, and they had to move it back. I had never seen a delay of game on a kickoff. That was a first for me.
The announcers didn't either. It was hilarious.
That was brand new by me. It blew my mind. I didn't even know they had a play clock on kickoffs. I did not know that. So you learn something new all the time. Kai Forbath moving on to the kicking, 4 of 4 on his field goals. He made half his extra points, 1 of 2. The missed field or the missed extra point wasn't so much his fault because the snap on the hold didn't quite get there properly. Locke had trouble getting it down evenly, and when that happens, whether it's the snap, the hold, the kick, no matter what it is, there are a lot of things that can go wrong when kicking any football. And considering that Forbath has been fairly, I'll say he's been a much more reliable kicker for the Vikings than they've had in the past. So a missed extra point, you can kind of let that go.
Didn't this come off of a penalty as well? They had to back it up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was I believe a false start as well. It was just irritating. So if you want to knock Kai Forbath, you really can't. He had a pretty damn good day. I thought he was going to score all the points for us. So that was it's good to see. It's good to see that confidence back where every time a field goal comes up, we don't have to gasp for air and be like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen now. But I'm with Kyle on the one negative that I saw twice yesterday. The kickoffs, man. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to wait till next season to really address it and put extra effort in. But he doesn't have the strongest leg for kickoffs. That was a concern. But as far as getting us points yesterday, he was pretty clutch. It was a good thing. It's a good feeling, like I said, not to have to worry every time you go up for a field goal.
The nice thing about Kai Forbath not having a lot of leg strength is that the Vikings' kickoff coverage is pretty good. They can typically, if the ball isn't kicked to the back of the end zone, because that's something that where Kai Forbath's strength isn't. He's not known for that. But if it is, there's actually a trend in the league to not kick it through the back of the end zone and make them return it since you get the ball at the 25 for a touchback. So I could see this as being both a positive or a negative, either way. We do have confirmation, I believe, that dodgeball is happening.
Yes, I've been quiet. I've been looking this up. NFL.com has an article. I'm really super excited about this.
He's so stoked that we might be playing dodgeball at the Pro Bowl. It's like Kyle just disappeared for 5 minutes. I love it.
Yeah. I got to figure out what's going on. They're having a competition including Epic Pro Bowl Dodgeball, Power Replay Challenge, Precision Passing, and Best Hands. This is going to take place before the Pro Bowl. Best Hands. Yes. This will take place before the Pro Bowl. They're still going to have the boring shit on the field that no one's going to watch, but we're going to get dodgeball out of it. So this is like a step in the right direction.
All right, here's the question. What was said that came to this conclusion about how crappy the Pro Bowl has been? Like, guys.
I think they finally understood that something entertaining needs to happen. And
you know what?
For years.
And you know what? Everyone in the comments section, like usually like comment sections, everyone hates everything. Everyone in here is like, this is a great idea. And people are talking about how they remember the skills challenges, like what we did, Adam, from years ago, and everyone's excited for it.
I want to take the guy out to dinner and buy him a dessert. That one guy that's been waiting for like 10 years to be like, I have an idea. Freaking dodgeball. You came in with a clutch. Whoever came up with that idea, that's amazing.
If they want viewers, they want to bring in some of that revenue, they know what they need to do. And I'm glad they're finally doing it.
Yeah, me too.
I need to backtrack real quick because we went through the defense, but we didn't talk about corners unless I missed that part and just dazed out. I have to give my donkey away. It's going to give me some grief from some people. But Xavier Rhodes gets my donkey this week, and it really irritated me for the penalties that he got because – they ended up getting points off the drive because he got 2 penalties in a row, which is super frustrating. I think he had a 4 on the day, which is really uncharacteristic. We know Xavier is pretty handsy sometimes. He's big. He's physical. I know he's going to get a PI every other game. I get it. But Mike Zimmer had to pull him out of the game and let him cool off. And, bro, you're our best corner. We need you out there. Don't get up in your emotions. Just play ball. That really irritated me. Only because Jacksonville got points off of it. Now, if nothing would have happened, maybe I would have went a little different. But I think Xavier came away with 4 penalties yesterday. I didn't like that. So you get my donkey this week, man.
How would you like to be yelled at by Mike Zimmer wearing an eye patch?
Did you see where the players said that Mike Zimmer was harder on them than usual?
Gee, I wonder why.
I was excited about that. I heard it today in the press conference. That was amazing. Said, hey, Mike, a player said you were harder on him than usual. He's like, I'm tired of losing. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to stand for penalties. I love the guy. Of course he's going to. And he just had eye surgery. What are you doing, man? I would want to play my best football with him on his first game back. You know what I mean?
What possible excuse are you going to give to the guy who almost lost his eye?
you can still tell he's recovering too. Like I saw it today in the press conference, he was doing this number right here, and I'm like, stop.
Oh, I know.
Rubbing at his eye, and it's all puffed up and swollen. He doesn't care. But I like that. Right after the game, you could tell he took the patch off, and they were asking him like, well, was there ever a point where you said you weren't coming or thought about not coming? He's like, I'm not missing another game for the rest of my life. And then he knocked on the podium because it's made of wood. So I love it. I love the guy. I love his attitude.
All right, so next week we got the Minnesota Vikings hitting the road. Well, I guess they're not hitting the road, but they're staying home, US Bank Stadium. We got the Indianapolis Colts coming to town, playing the Vikings. On paper, this is a game that's pretty evenly matched. Two teams that should be doing better than they really are and are struggling because of injuries on their offensive line. Honestly, this is a game that could go either way, but I think that the home crowd in Minnesota, the strong pass rush of the Vikings, I'm really feeling pretty good about this game.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, Andrew Luck is always tough. It's always going to be tough within a quarterback. But just talking about Mike Zimmer motivating this team and then realizing that they have to win out, essentially, I think they're going to be playing as hard as they can.
I just like our chances at home a lot better than the road, even though I know we've played well on the road this year too in some spots. Anytime that we can get that crowd going, I do believe we have one of the best home field advantages for how loud it gets there. But I'm with Adam 100% on this. Our defensive line is like the strongest suit of our team overall. I know Sam's been playing lights out at quarterback with the best that he can, with everything that's happened with injuries on the line. But the best part of our team starts with the defensive line. So if you can contain Andrew Luck, remember, he's an athletic guy. He might look like a caveman. He might be kind of big and goofy, but he can run around. So if we can keep him contained and we can rough him up a little bit, I think he's going to have a long day. So I'm with you with that on Adam. Adam. I'm excited to see what the defensive line can do against a banged-up O-line of theirs.
Yeah, that's not to say that the Colts don't have talented players. Like you said, they have Andrew Luck who can do almost anything with the football in his hands. They have some explosive players on defense. They've got some interesting wide receivers that could present some challenges to the Vikings cornerbacks.
Frank Gore is still a tough running back. You can't discredit him.
He's on my fantasy team. I'm tough about that. And this week is still about the money. I got into the money. Now it's just how much money am I going to win? So I have to play Frank Gore because my other running backs are so bad.
Who are your other running backs?
Oh, I got that piece of crap from Denver that doesn't get any more touches, and it's bad.
This is why I don't play fantasy football.
I'll tell you what, and I told my friends, I'm going to give my little shout-outs now. I play fantasy football with friends back home. I'm in one league. For what a god-awful reason, and I'm going to send this link to them. They do the auto draft, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But you can't sit down for an hour and draft your own players. Oof. But I haven't been playing fantasy football for like 3 weeks. I haven't checked my roster at all, and I made the playoffs. So I don't know how that happened, but I'm done after this year. I'm absolutely done because every time I get someone who has an amazing year the year prior, they either get hurt or they go into a slump. I'm done.
Except for the Purple People podcast survival league, right, Adam?
Absolutely. We had 2 strikes this week. 2 strikes. SB Homeboy and Viking Pride. Viking Pride failed to make a pick, so that's not how you want to get a strike. You want to at least put some effort in. SB Homeboy picked the Colts to win this week, and that didn't quite work out for him. Otherwise, it was a lot of people putting their bets on Detroit, and that game was razor thin.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Tampa and Atlanta were the other two. Atlanta against the Rams. If you had Atlanta still available to pick, that should have definitely been your pick. But we still have 3 players with no strikes. Jesus, the Purple People Eaters, Purple Waynes. With 1 strike, 3 people. You got me, Bleeds Purple, the Aussie Viking. And then with 2 strikes, on the verge of elimination. And I believe SB Homeboy will be gone after this. I think he'll get his 3rd strike. Same with Viking Pride. So let's say that it is EE Yin Yang, Scoldger Nation, and Zim Zam can't be flim flammed.
I love that name.
This is why I love. This is the best part of fantasy football is the team names.
Mhm.
So I think we're going to be down to 9 after this week, which means it gets even more competitive. And no offense to the Aussie Viking, and no offense to Purple Waynes, I want someone not international to win this because I don't want to pay for international shipping. I mean, I didn't put the little asterisk U.S. players only, so that's my bad. That's my bad. Still, though, I don't mind shipping internationally. I'm just joking about that. But either way, it's glad to see a good, fun, competitive group and so many people sticking in this for so long. Whoever wins this competition, they're going to have a really cool prize package, and I'm really excited to see them get it.
Remember last year, didn't we get a lot of people eliminated pretty quick?
Yeah, we had most of people gone by week 6 or 7. This year, it's tough. We've got some tough competition going on.
Are you going to extend it through to the playoffs?
Yeah, it goes all the way through the Super Bowl.
Okay, cool.
Although I don't know how that's going to work. I hope the teams reset once you get there, because otherwise a lot of people would have picked most of the playoff teams already.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how that works when we get here. Let's see. That is just about all that I have for this week. And looking through, any of you guys got social media or anything like that?
Oh shit! Yeah, we forgot about social media, Mr. Smith. Didn't we post?
All right, let me pull this up because we got a lot of response on this, and this is my favorite part about doing social media questions when it's, I won't say right down the middle, but there's some to the left, some to the right. So I was excited that people found this interesting enough to engage. We had 11 comments. So it was pretty much from my doing from last week, not to be like, oh, I came up with this, but you guys know how passionate I was about Adrian Peterson saying it's pointless for him to return if the team isn't in playoff contention. So let's see what you guys had to say. John Habelman says, why risk it? He's done a lot for this team. Rest up. John Johns says, see, I think he should want to help us get there. We have a better shot at the playoffs if he comes back. I agree. Cody Wade, he won't be with the team next year. Cody, you're reading my mind. Probably will be after the comments today, though, I'm sure. Danny Yang says release him. He makes too much money. I love it. Martin Hepburn, see, there's a difference. If he is healthy and able to play and doesn't, if he's pushing himself to damage his body more, then it's not worth it. It's like skipping practice. Daniel Whitford says, shut everyone down, honestly. See if we have anything from the bench mob. Not if you're trying to go to the playoffs, man. I don't know about that one. Matt Massey says, this is one of the few instances I actually agree with what he's saying. Nick Bruno says if he's healthy enough to play, he needs to play. Lee Montgomery, if he's fit, he should be back. If not, don't risk it. Jim Larson thinks he's a smart man, and Darren Roach says, makes sense. I disagree if he was younger. You guys already know my problem with that. The attitude is one thing, but he's getting paid a ton of money. Plus, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way that it kind of seemed like he was making the choice. Like, you're a player, bro. The coaches make these decisions. But I love your guys' interaction. I actually got back in there and got kind of spirited on one of those comments. So thank you guys for engaging. It's going to be interesting. It sounds like he's going to be with us next weekend, Christmas Eve against Green Bay. So, hey, man, if you're on the team and you're the best option that we have, I can put all my personal stuff aside if you help us beat the Packers at home. So you're not going to hear me complain about that.
I'll always be cheering for Vikings touchdowns. I might not cheer for Adrian Peterson, but I will cheer for a Vikings touchdown.
Exactly.
I do want to give a minor shout-out here to Stephen Osborne in our chat. He always makes time to be here, but recently he's been having a little bit of family time with his pregnant wife, so he's expecting a child here soon. So congratulations to him and his wife on that.
Congrats, man. It's good news.
Absolutely wonderful news. Otherwise, I think that will do it. We're going to put up something on social media here for next week, I assume.
Yes, we have questions lined up. We might shift to the Pro Bowl. We talked recently, I think last week about Thursday.
Asking about the dodgeball.
Yeah, I think that'll get a ton of responses. You know, we could do.
Mm-hmm.
We've done something like this before. Would you like skills competitions? But this seems like something that would get us all, because we were all excited. All the comments would be there. If not, we could talk about what you guys think about Thursday night football. It'd be one of those two. But I wanted to give a quick shout out as well. I have two people I wanted to say what's up to. My little brother is in the Air Force as well. He's, for whatever reason, we have a dysfunctional football family at home. Everybody likes another team. I'm not really sure what the hell happened there. He likes the San Diego Chargers for some odd reason, and they played in Carolina, where we live, yesterday. So I want to give a shout-out to him. He was in freezing weather watching his poor Chargers get beat and watch Phillip Rivers throw 3 interceptions. And on the caveat to that, I'll give a shout-out to my friend Elizabeth, diehard Panthers fan. She knows all the struggles we have this year with your team doing awesome last year and then not so well now. So I want to give a shout-out to those two. Thank you for listening.
You got any last things to say there, Mr. West?
Nah, I'm good.
You don't want anybody to check out your Same Page podcast or nothing like that?
Sure.
All right. You heard it right from him.
Mm-hmm.
Now me, I got lots of stuff. I want you to go to the Viking Age. I want you to check out all my work over there. If you're into The Walking Dead, head on over to Undead Walking. Big mid-season finale was on Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about going forward. Right here on the Purple People podcast, head on over. If you're listening to this somewhere other than YouTube, please come to our YouTube and hit subscribe on the button. I know that this is kind of pandering to our audience, but we would love to be able to do YouTube Live instead of going through all these weird other channels. Would be absolutely fantastic.
We like pandering.
I like pandas. On that note, I guess that's all we have for this week. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us in the live chat. It's so much more fun to have you here with us. Remember to head on over to @PurplePeoplePod on your Twitter machines or Facebook. You can leave some comments, chats, messages, whatever. We'll get back to you. And as always, stay classy, Minnesota.